Live from KSAT 12. Good Morning San Antonio starts right now.
Making headlines this morning, the Texas Gulf Coast gets ready for heavy rainfall and flooding as Tropical Storm Beta gets closer to shore. Mike is standing by with how Beta will affect our weather.
As the country continues to mourn the loss of Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, there is a debate heating up in the nation's capital about whether or not to replace her seat before the election. I'm Alex Bechet in Washington. I'll have details coming up.
And taking a look outside with live cam, things are calm here at 72 degrees. But again, we're going to check in with Mike to hear more about Beta and the rain chances here locally.
Yeah, we've had some showers, it would appear, in the overnight hours. Good morning to you. It is Monday. It is September 21st. And what a stellar weekend here in South Texas. It was actually a little cool this morning,
yes.
Yesterday morning.
And yesterday morning as well. Just a beautiful weekend. Feel so lucky to get those temperatures.
Yeah, I had to grab a sweatshirt and a blanket to hang out on the back porch yesterday. That's how cool it was even here in town. But this morning, definitely noticeably more humid out there as Beta gets a little bit closer and is influencing our weather, right?
Yeah. You can actually see the humidity kind of go up a little bit yesterday afternoon, but to 62 in the morning yesterday, which was fantastic. It was great. But this morning, 10 degrees warmer than that. We have had, I noticed there were a couple little damp spots. Some of the cushions on the back deck were a little bit damp this morning. There's not much out there right now. I mean, just a few little scattered light showers. This is ground clutter. As you can see, one or two of those little showers. But you zoom out, and we are now starting to pick up Beta as it continues to churn on in here. And here's the kind of leading bands, the outer bands that are going to be pushed on in here. It is still forecast to work its way and hit the coast by sometime later on this afternoon, and it's still just going to be a tropical storm. It does not look like it's going to be gaining hurricane strength, and again should cross the coast sometime again late this afternoon, and then it's going to start to make a kind of hit Victoria and make a right-hand turn up to the northeast. Now there are tropical storm warnings posted for some of our extreme southeastern counties, DeWitt, Lavaca, Victoria County as well. And that's for tropical storm force winds that are going to be in excess of 40 miles per hour, about 40 to 60 miles per hour with some gusts. And then there are also flash flood watches that are posted up until tomorrow evening. So that's down along the coast. Now, as far as a little bit closer inland, the heaviest rain obviously is going to be there along the coast. I-35 corridor, maybe inch to 2 inches of rain, and that's going to be with some of those localized heavier downpours. We were talking about temperatures being at 72 degrees right now, a little bit above normal by about 3-4 degrees with some humidity out there. And throughout the rest of the morning, by the way, pollen, mold is on the moderate side. Ragweed is also moderate, and we're going to drop down maybe another degree or two, stay fairly steady. Showers will continue to develop, and then we'll have more showers and thunderstorms later on today. Temperatures really won't go much of anywhere, about mid-70s later on. Of course, the heaviest rain is going to be off to the east, and that'll be the case through this evening and the first part of the day, basically tomorrow. Then everything's going to continue to kind of move on off to the northeast. Rest of the forecast for the rest of the week coming up. Time saver traffic right now this Monday morning. Here is Officer Marcus Trujillo. Good morning, sir.
Well, good morning, Mike. Good morning, everyone at home. As we take a look at the map there, map's off to a pretty good start. So let's go from the map over to TransGuide right now. I-10, Colorado. You can see travel both eastbound and westbound there on the lower level of I-10. So far, no issues. And then 35 at FM 1103 looks pretty good right now. Only a handful of vehicles on these cameras there. 37 at Southeast Military, then moving over here to 10 at Medical. You can see east and westbound lanes. So far, no issues this morning. Stephanie?
Thank you, Marcus. Police are looking into what led up to a shooting on the city's northeast side. It happened in the 15,000 block of Topperwine. Police say one man was taken to the hospital with a gunshot wound to the chest last night. They say another man was also hurt and taken to the hospital. They say both men appear to be in their 20s. No arrests have been made.
3 people seriously injured following a 2-vehicle crash on Highway 181 near Kilowatt in southeast Bexar County. When deputies arrived last night, one of the victims was unconscious, and firefighters had to cut another person out of a vehicle. One victim was airlifted to University Hospital. 2 others were taken to the hospital in serious condition. Northbound lanes of 1604 were closed while crime scene and traffic safety units investigated this crash. This morning, tributes continue to pour in for Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
At the same time, her death is sparking an intense debate in Washington over whether her seat should be filled before the election. ABC's Alex Perche has more.
This morning, as tributes pour in for Ruth Bader Ginsburg, the battle to fill her Supreme Court seat heats up. President Trump last night held a tele-rally on Facebook and repeated he will announce his nominee sometime this week.
We have tremendous women on the list, as you know, and it will be a highly qualified person. It will be a woman that we choose, and the nomination will be put forth sometime next week.
ABC News learning overnight the president spent the weekend on the phone with advisors and members of Congress regarding Justice Ginsburg's replacement. 3 women are on his short list. Democrats already reacting to news that federal appeals court judge Amy Coney Barrett is the leading frontrunner.
She stands for all the things Ruth Bader Ginsburg was against, and so many things that the vast majority of American people are against.
Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell is promising the president's choice will get a vote on the floor of the Senate, a reversal of his position in 2016 when he refused to consider President Obama's nominee during an election year.
This vacancy should not be filled by this lame duck president.
The president's rival, Joe Biden, calling on other Republicans to let Americans' voices be heard.
I'm speaking to those Republicans out there, Senate Republicans, who know deep down what is right for the country and consistent with the Constitution.
At least 4 members of the Republican Party would need to join Democrats to delay a confirmation of the president's nominee. Republicans Lisa Murkowski and Susan Collins have already said they will not support a vote before the election. This morning, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi is not taking anything off the table to stop a nomination before the election.
We have arrows in our quiver that I'm not about to discuss right now. But the fact is, we have a big challenge in our country. This president has threatened to not even accept the results of the election.
Meantime, late Sunday, we got word from Republican Senator Lamar Alexander that he does support a confirmation vote in an election year, ending speculation that the retiring senator might buck party lines. Alex Perche, ABC News, Washington.
437, 72 degrees.
And still ahead on GMSA, a first look at last night's 72nd annual Emmy Awards that had stars accepting awards from more than 100 different locations.
And next, latest information on Tropical Storm Beta as it inches closer to making landfall along the Texas coastline.
And taking a look outside with live cam this morning, 72 degrees for now, and rainfall in different parts of the area as we wait for Beta to approach landfall. We will be back in a minute.
In your morning headlines, people along the Texas coast are already seeing the force of Tropical Storm Beta. As water begins to rise, some started to pull down storm shutters just in case. In Nassau Bay and Galveston Bay, water's already covering the road in some places. Areas like Seabrook, Red Bluff, and Bolivar Peninsula already under a voluntary evacuation order. The storm expected to officially make landfall sometime tonight or early tomorrow morning. It's then expected to move up the Texas coast over the next few days.
President Donald Trump's former national security advisor says the withdrawal of U.S. troops from Afghanistan and Germany are mistakes. Retired Lieutenant General H.R. McMaster says he believes the withdrawal of American armed forces is being done hastily and is leaving U.S. allies in a weakened position. Instead, the former national security advisor is calling for the U.S. to reinforce its partnership with allies around the world like Germany. McMaster was hired as a replacement for Michael Flynn following his resignation after just a month in office.
Well, new guidance from the CDC reports coronavirus can be spread through the air. Prior to this, CDC's website reported COVID was spread between people within 6 feet of each other. It previously said coronavirus was spread when an infected person coughs, sneezes, or talks. Now, according to new guidance on the CDC website, COVID can be spread through viral particles in the air. The update also confirms that asymptomatic people who are infected do spread the virus instead of just implying they might be able to do so.
And time now is 4:41 and 72 degrees for now.
Still ahead, we'll tell you about a local woman who not only saves dogs from being put down, but pairs them with veterans struggling with PTSD.
And also next, a recap of last night's first ever virtual Emmy Awards.
I'm Will Reeve here in New York. Last night, for the first time ever, the Emmys went virtual. So we had to go virtual with the night's biggest winners for our backstage interviews. That's all coming up in your GMA First Look. What does that feel like to win an Emmy? It's the pinnacle of your industry and you're at home.
It still feels incredible, to be honest with you. It's mind blowing. You don't have to worry about tripping, which is a positive as you're going up the stairs. But you definitely I feel great.
That was just one of the night's biggest winners. Coming up at 7 a.m., GMA has your full Emmy wrap-up. The craziest moments, the biggest winners, and some jubilant Hollywood royalty. That's all coming up at 7 a.m. With your GMA First Look, I'm Will Reeve, ABC News, New York.
Back here at home, saving 2 lives at once. That's the mission of one South Texas woman who's helped rescue hundreds of dogs.
60-year-old Sherry Jenkins also works to train them as service animals for veterans in need. Japhanie Gray shares her story.
When I first married my husband, he said, "You can have 1 dog." We now have 7.
Growing up in England, 60-year-old Sherry Jenkins walked 4 miles every Sunday to volunteer at an animal shelter starting at age 8.
I would go up and help bathe them and put little red ribbons around their neck and things to get them adopted.
She later met the American love of her life, which brought her to the United States in 2008.
I married my husband after meeting a very traditional way online.
While in America working with Animal Control Services, Sherry learned something.
They'd seen so many veterans bringing dogs back to the shelter because they were rescuing dogs, going to a trainer, and then finding that the dog wasn't suitable.
She soon found a way to rescue death row dogs while helping veterans with PTSD at the same time. In 2012, she founded In Dog We Trust.
With each dog, there's a veteran. For every veteran, there's a dog. It's just our job is to make sure that we match them correctly.
Sherry assesses and trains dogs to be a perfect fit for specific veterans with disabilities or different forms of PTSD.
A fear of crowds, a fear of great people, a fear of loud noises, a fear of being asleep.
The dogs are mostly protective breeds, like pit bulls.
They're not as vicious and nasty as everybody thinks that they are.
To date, Sherry has rescued and matched at least 300 dogs set to be euthanized with veterans.
I do it because I've saved the life of a dog that would otherwise have been killed. And I do it to give back to my country that has given me the grace to live here.
The experience, both emotionally rewarding and in honor of her father who passed away 2 years ago.
He taught me a lot about animals, or at least compassion with animals.
Things have slowed down after her husband was diagnosed with stage 4 prostate cancer and after the pandemic struck. However, Sherry says she will push through the trials in order to save 2 lives at once. That's a major salute for What's Up South Texas.
Today is all you have. Today is what anybody has. So if you're worried about tomorrow, you're wasting today.
Japhanie Gray, KSAT 12 News.
Right now it's 4:48 on your Monday morning. Some folks have to hit the road this early.
Yeah, a couple of people, right? Let's check in with Marcus Trujillo to see how things are looking on the roads.
And some are definitely hitting the roads early this morning. Some parts of the highways you may find an increase in the traffic from what we normally see this early on a Monday morning. Right now, I-10, at Medical, no issues there. And 37 and I-10, still very, very few vehicles out in that part of the city. A few more vehicles there, I-10 and Wurzbach. Let's move over here to the 410 I-10 Crossroads intersection. You can see there things getting a little bit busier. And then 1604 Bandera also showing signs that folks are starting to wake up and get out on the roadway.
Thank you, Marcus. Mike, could Beta bring showers all day here in South Texas?
Yeah, and we're looking at some heavier downpours as well. Now, it's going to be obviously depending on where you live. Off to the east, a lot more rain. Off to the west, not quite as much. There's not really anything showing up in this picture right now. Here's the satellite radar loop over the past 12 hours. And yes, we have had a few showers that have kind of swept on through, moving into portions of the hill country. And it doesn't mean there won't be rain in the hill country, but it's just going to be a whole lot less. This is live radar right now and just sort of scattered about, but you can see the showers that are sweeping in here from the east, and just again a scattered shower. That's the ground clutter up there around the radar site, but there's a lot more off to the east, and there is Beta. It is still a very disorganized, just this blob basically out there in the Gulf of Mexico, and 50-mile-per-hour winds, so it's kind of a moderate tropical storm, if you will, and it will continue to work its way in toward the coast. And now probably sometime again this evening and or by late evening. So this is the latest from the Hurricane Center, the 4 o'clock update, and it has it just reaching the coast, and this would be about 1 a.m. tomorrow. So it looks like it may slow down just a little bit, sometime maybe late tonight tomorrow. Obviously, we'll start to see the rain and seeing the rain and some of the tropical storm conditions well out ahead of that by the time it makes land. And also, it looks like it's going to be making the right-hand turn a little bit further to the east, so it won't quite reach Victoria, but it will work its way out to the northeast, and that's going to be overnight into Tuesday. So tropical storm warnings are posted for our south and eastern counties, Goliad, Victoria, DeWitt, Lavaca counties. Winds about 30, 40 miles per hour, gusting on top of that. As far as the computer model, I think this does a fantastic job showing what's going on, and this model tends to take the center of it a little bit further inland than what the Hurricane Center is looking at. But again, heaviest rain off to the east, lesser amounts off to the west, and it will continue and then make that right-hand turn. So we will have scattered showers, some thunderstorms around here, mainly today, tonight, and then they will start to kind of move on off and end from west to east tomorrow as that storm makes that big turn up to the north and east. The flash flood watches are in effect through tomorrow evening. Again, for our southeastern counties, that's where some of the heaviest rain, maybe about a half a foot of rain, give or take, along the I-35 corridor, perhaps inch of rain, a couple of heavier downpours on top of that, and then much, much less rain well off to the west. So it's going to be it's going to be very generous for some folks, and it's not going to be as generous for other folks, unfortunately. So as far as the forecast today, we are going to be 73 degrees at noon. Showers, some thunderstorms, primarily off to the east, and then later on this afternoon, we'll make it up to only 75 degrees. So clouds, rain are going to hold temperatures down. The heaviest rain off to the east. Couple of, decent downpours here and there as well. Tomorrow, rain primarily in the first portion of the day, and then we'll start to taper off, maybe even a little sunshine late in the afternoon. Of course, fall begins about 8:30 tomorrow morning officially, and then got a nice stretch of weather. Now, there is something maybe trying to come on in here. As of right now, a lot of sunshine for the weekend, but maybe a little bit of a glitch to give us a shower or two. Gonna wait on that one, but otherwise, just watch out for grab an umbrella today, and the heaviest rain off to the east.
You have all week to do your homework for the upcoming weekend.
Yes.
Let us know how that goes.
My dog eats it, so.
Okay.
Thank you, Mike.
Right now it is 4:52, 72 degrees.
And coming up next, a first look at new Netflix original that gives viewers the backstory of the tyrannical nurse from a popular novel.
Here are your lottery numbers. Pick 3, 950, Fireball 8, Daily 4, 7574, Fireball 7.
Cash 5, 5, 19, 20, 23, 34. And Lotto Texas 3, 5, 28, 31, 36, 46. And your Powerball numbers 11, 14, 23, 47, 57, Powerball 14, Power Play 4. Good luck.
Christopher Nolan's Tenet continues to bring in money at the box office, and an update on Harvey Weinstein.
For the latest on what's happening in Hollywood, here's ABC's Chuck Severston.
You're not shooting the bullet. You're catching it.
Whoa. Director Christopher Nolan's Tenet has reached the $250 million mark at the global box office, but continues struggling to attract U.S. audiences. The sci-fi thriller earned $4.7 million in its third weekend, bringing its North American grosses to just $36.1 million. Warner Brothers, the studio behind the $200 million budgeted film, has stressed Tenet's theatrical run will be a marathon, not a sprint.
The doctors and nurses here, they want to give you hope.
New Netflix original Ratched gives viewers a look at the backstory of the tyrannical nurse from the novel One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Sarah Paulson, who takes on the role of Nurse Mildred Ratched, says she felt she needed to resist recoiling from some of the shocking 1940s-era medical techniques portrayed in the series.
If I shy away from the experience, the audience doesn't get to have the same visceral reaction to it. So it's sort of my responsibility to kind of, grin and bear it and help make my own discomfort something the audience can feel.
Ratched is now streaming on Netflix. Harvey Weinstein has been stripped of his CBE. The former movie mogul was granted an honorary Commander of the Civil Division of the Most Excellent Order of the British Empire back in 2004. But Queen Elizabeth has directed the order be canceled and annulled, and his name erased from the register. Weinstein is currently serving a 23-year prison sentence after being convicted of rape earlier this year. And happy birthday to Bill Murray, the actor and comedian who rose to fame on Saturday Night Live, is turning 70 today. And that's what's happening in Hollywood. Chuck Severson, ABC News, New York.
About 3 till 72 degrees.
And still ahead on GMSA, more details on an arrest made in connection with a letter sent to the White House containing the deadly poison ricin.
And a look at how some convenience stores are deploying 7-foot robots to stock shelves.
Live from KSAT 12. Good Morning San Antonio starts right now.
Making headlines this hour, an arrest is made in connection with a letter sent to the White House containing the deadly poison ricin.
And a local deputy who spent days in the hospital recovering from a gunshot wound now back home.
And back here at home outside with live cam right now. You can't tell right now, but yeah, we could have some rain in our forecast today. Mike is tracking Tropical Storm Beta in the Gulf of Mexico, just off the Texas coast. And he's going to get us updated on when that storm might make landfall here in Texas. Good morning to you. It is Monday. It is September 21st.
Good morning. Thank you for starting your day with us. A beautiful weekend, and now we get some rain.
That's right. We spent a lot of time outdoors this weekend.
Yes, so nice. You got to take a nice drive.
Yep, all the way up to Kerrville this weekend. Beautiful.
We spent a lot of time outside as well. What about you, Mike?
Yes, I was under my deck out back for most of the weekend. So.
Oh, okay.
But you were outside.
That's a really weird kind of sunscreen, Mike.
Yes, indeed. Replacing all the lattice underneath there. So I've been crouched up and tied up into a knot, and my body's not good for that. So anyway, we've got temperatures right now. We're in the 70s, so if I move kind of slowly, it's because, yeah, that's stuff I haven't done in a while. We're in the mid and upper 60s, low 70s. About 10 degrees warmer, though, than what it was yesterday. We were at 62 degrees starting off yesterday morning. The humidity has definitely come back up. You can kind of notice it a little bit. Wind is out of the north, so that's kind of being affected by the tropical storm out there in the Gulf of Mexico. We are starting to see some of the rain push on in here. We had a couple of showers that moved through overnight, and as you can see, more of that rain off to the east, which is working its way basically from east to west. And we don't have a lot, if anything, here in town right now. This is clutter around the radar site, but obviously there is more rain off to the east. There's the center of the storm, and that will continue to work its way basically in the direction of Victoria in the next probably about 18 hours or so. Some of the latest numbers, 50-mile-per-hour winds, and it is working its way again to the west at 6 miles per hour. It'll start to make a little bit of a kind of a northwestward movement, and then it's going to just sort of hug the coast and make land and then take a sharp right-hand turn up to the north and east. That's going to be probably sometime late tonight. So we'll have some showers scattered about this morning, more showers and thunderstorms. Obviously, the heaviest rain is going to be off to the east along the I-35 corridor. When it's all said and done, maybe about 1 inch, 2 inches to the east. Lesser amounts out in portions of the hill country. We will have some rain tomorrow, especially the first part of the day. Then that's going to start to end. They've got a really nice stretch of weather for the first few days of fall. Fall officially, by the way, begins tomorrow. More on the first few days of the new season and the weekend forecast coming up. Time saver traffic right now. Officer Marcus Trujillo. Anything big going on we should know about?
Well, right now, if we look from one side of the county to the other, highways look pretty good right now. So you see everything in the green. No sign of any delays out there, so everyone's travel time should be well within the normal travel time range. 410 up there at Crossroads so far, no issues there. And roads are dry for now in most parts. Just remember, both hands on the wheel, put away those distractions. Mark?
Thanks, Marcus. New this morning, San Antonio police looking for a man they say crashed his vehicle into a house on the southeast side. Happened just before 1 this morning in the 3000 block of East South Cross. Police say the man lost control, overcorrected, and hit the front of the house. No word yet if anyone was hurt. SAPD says the driver got out and ran off towards Dollarhide Avenue. They are still looking for him. Storm preparations happening along the Texas coast as we speak as residents brace for Tropical Storm Beta. Over in Port O'Connor, parts of the community are starting to flood during heavy downpours as the storm makes its way inland. Some tell us they prepared for it, but others don't think Beta is a real big threat.
I don't see this as a big risk at all. I think we'll get a little rain out of it.
We're stocked up on plenty of stuff, to perishables, non-perishable, to get through.
We would not stay if it was really bad. We wouldn't. We would leave.
Port O'Connor community has weathered several storms and hurricanes, one of the most devastating, Hurricane Carla, which caused major damage to homes and businesses way back in 1961.
And Governor Greg Abbott is encouraging Texas residents to closely monitor weather conditions as Beta approaches. In a statement, he said in part, quote, "I call on all Texans in the Gulf Coast region to heed the advice of local officials and take the necessary precautions to keep themselves and their loved ones out of harm's way," end quote. The Texas Division of Emergency Management and the State Operations Center have been activated to level 2. Flash flooding is expected to occur while the storm travels through the state.
In your other morning headlines, a woman under arrest accused of sending President Donald Trump a letter laced with poison.
Investigators say they arrested the suspect at the border as she was trying to enter the country. ABC's Alex Brachet has the details.
Overnight, an arrest made in connection with a letter sent to the White House containing the deadly poison ricin. The FBI confirming to ABC News that a woman was taken into custody in Buffalo as she tried to enter the U.S. from Canada. Investigators announced this weekend that a suspicious letter addressed to the president had been intercepted at an off-site facility that screens mail. Inside the envelope, ricin, a highly toxic poison that can cause organ failure and death. The woman under arrest has not been identified. It's not the first time authorities have arrested someone accused of sending ricin-laced letters to the White House. In 2018, a Navy veteran confessed to sending envelopes to President Trump and members of his administration that contained the poison. And in 2014, a Mississippi man was sentenced to 25 years in prison after sending letters dusted with ricin to President Obama. This morning, it is still unclear when that letter was sent to the White House. Reports saying authorities are also investigating similar packages sent to addresses in Texas. Alex Perche, ABC News, Washington.
Here at home, he spent over 20 days in the hospital recovering from a gunshot wound. And now Comal County Deputy Eddie Luna is back home in New Braunfels. Luna was discharged from the hospital this past Tuesday. Now, back in August, Luna was serving a felony arrest warrant when he was shot nearly at point blank by a wanted suspect. Now, he was rushed to the hospital, and despite going through 12 different surgeries, he made the decision to amputate part of his right arm. He says though the experience was very painful, he will not let it stop him from serving his community as a deputy.
In law enforcement, you know, when you're shot and something terrible happens to you, life-changing, you know, where the percentage is very low, and I just became one of those guys. But I'm not done, and I plan on coming back.
Luna was welcomed home with an honorable escort from family, friends, co-workers, and other law enforcement personnel. He says he is beyond thankful for the support he has received from the community he calls home.
Welcome home, sir. Well, now to the latest on COVID-19. San Antonio health officials reporting 108 new cases and 2,473 backlogged cases. 2 new deaths within the last 14 days also confirmed. Meanwhile, hospitalizations increased to 225. Of those patients, 92 are in ICU, 45 are on ventilators.
And time now is 5:08 and 72 degrees for now.
Still ahead, Amazon revealed that it's debuting its fall product line later this week. We will have a preview.
And these everyday household items could spell disasters for your fur baby. Coming up next, the common products in your home right now that could be deadly to Fido.
And what will Tropical Storm Beta do next? And more importantly, how will it affect our weather here in South Texas? Mike's full forecast is still coming up right here on GMSA. Just about 5:12. Welcome back on your Monday morning. You're watching GMSA. Every year, the Animal Poison Control Center receives more than 200,000 cases concerning potential poisonings of our fur babies.
And many of those involve common items found in your household. Our Sarah Costa tells us about the toxins that you need to watch out for in your home.
With their sniffing snouts and mischievous mouths, pets are always putting the strangest things in their mouths.
A sock.
A dead lizard.
A tampon.
But did you know some everyday items and foods could be downright dangerous to your pet's health? Raw bread dough is an unexpected poisonous hazard for dogs. The yeast cells produce ethanol, which can quickly raise your dog's blood alcohol level, causing alcohol poisoning. Avocados are mildly poisonous to cats and dogs, but can be deadly to horses, birds, and rabbits. Medications count for just over 37% of calls to animal poison control centers. Ibuprofen, cold medicine, antidepressants, ADHD medications were the ones most commonly ingested by dogs, followed by heart medications. These can cause difficulty breathing and vomiting in cats, and liver failure, dry eye, and red blood cell injury in dogs.
Products you buy from your vet may also be dangerous to your pet. They accounted for 10% of calls to animal poison control. Pets may overindulge on those medications, thinking they are treats. For GMSA, I'm Sarah Acosta, KSAT 12 News.
Some of those are common sense. Some I didn't know anything about.
Yeah, I didn't know about the avocado.
That's what I was thinking too.
You too? Lucky for me, my Gordo doesn't get into things anymore. He's just kind of like, eh.
You are lucky.
Yes.
513, 72 degrees.
And get your holiday wish list ready. Up next, a first look at Amazon's new product line expected to be unveiled this week.
And next, President Trump has given tentative approval to a deal that will keep TikTok alive here in the U.S.
This isn't just a bandage. It's a badge of honor, of care, of respect. Because it means you fight for the safety of those you love. When you come into Walgreens, you get a flu shot that's right for you and them. You become a flu fighter. Do your part and defend your crew against the flu. Walgreens.
At SafeLight, we're here for you with safe, convenient service.
We'll come right to you.
You'll get a text when we're on our way.
Before we arrive, just leave your keys on the dash. We'll replace your windshield with safe, no-contact service.
And that service you can trust when you need it the most.
Schedule at SafeLight.com.
SafeLight Repair, SafeLight Replace.
In today's Tech Bites, President Trump has given his blessing to a tentative deal to keep TikTok afloat in the U.S. The proposal calls for the app to partner with Oracle and Walmart to form a U.S. company, and it averts a ban on TikTok downloads. The agreement was born out of concern over data privacy. Amazon is set to debut new products this week. Reports say customers may see more Alexa upgrades. The only thing Amazon will say about Thursday's event is the company will, quote, share some news. Finally, convenience stores in Japan are using 7-foot robots to stock shelves. The robot, called Model T, is controlled by a pilot wearing a virtual reality headset and special gloves. They allow the pilot to feel the product that the robot is putting on the shelf. Those are your Tech Bites. Have a great day.
Yeah, but remember, one wrong move and right?
Especially with those breakables, right?
Yeah, are robots programmed to say oops?
Or react.
Right.
No, I think they would just keep stalking and
keep going
and keep making a mess.
Another
probably.
robot cleans up the mess.
Oh yeah, that's true. There you go.
518 right now.
Let's go ahead and check in with Officer Marcus Trujillo. More drivers on the roadways?
Not yet, but I have a question. Does the cleaning robot get its own cleaning robot?
Yes.
Or does it have to do double duty?
Road.
Yeah.
You know what? I think that's when the human steps in.
Okay, Mark, get to it. Chop, chop. Right now, as we take a look at the roadways, still no issues out there. 410 and Crossroads looks great. Take a look. 281 at Almost. North and southbound lanes. More than enough room out there. No problems there. 35 at FM 1103. And then 410 at Bandera. Traffic in both directions had more than enough room. Currently, no delays.
Thank you, Marcus. Hard to believe yesterday, Mike, that we were going to wake up to humidity and an increased chance of rain. I mean, just a completely different story this morning.
Yep, and it's all due to Tropical Storm Beta, which is throwing more humidity in here, because what's interesting is when you look at the winds right now, dew point temperatures, of course, to get down to 62 yesterday, we had to have a dew point that was below 62 degrees because you can't drop down below what the dew point is. And this despite the fact that we do have wind out of the northeast. Usually that's sometimes a drier air that comes on in here. But this storm is pumping in all that moisture. And so the dew points and therefore the humidity, it's going to stay up throughout the rest of the day and even going into tomorrow as that continues to work its way on in here. So as far as the rest of the week, we will still keep some dew points around. So staying in the mid 60s, that means we'll still have a little bit of humidity in the afternoons. Rain, there's not a lot right now. We had a few showers that moved through in the overnight hours, but as you can see, there are more showers developing out here to the west, and more will continue to develop throughout the rest of the day, especially. And it looks like there's a cell which is now starting to pop up heading in towards Seguin as of right now. Nothing in and around town as of yet, and obviously more rain is off there to the east and more is yet to come, although it is still scattered around Beeville, Victoria. Again, the satellite picture, and this is the enhanced satellite picture. It's not a radar image that's thrown in on top of it, but as you can see, this is not a very well-defined storm. There's no center of circulation to it, anything like that. Just that little kind of that little blob off the coast as of right now, and it will continue to work its way in toward the Texas coast, but it has slowed down somewhat. It had looked like it was going to make landfall sometime late this afternoon. Now it's going to be either late tonight or in the wee hours of tomorrow morning. Obviously, we'll start to feel the effects of it with more rain well out ahead of that, but by 1 o'clock this afternoon, it's still going to be well off the coast. And then roughly 1 a.m. tomorrow, that's when it will make it right there along the coast and then continue to make kind of a right-hand turn. So it's really going to almost make not a hairpin turn, but kind of turn almost back on itself overnight tomorrow night into Wednesday. Now, of course, there is still the cone of uncertainty, but that is kind of skewing off to the north and east, and the heaviest rain is on the right-hand side in relation to the direction of travel. So as this makes this turn, obviously the heaviest rain will be out here. It's still going to pump a lot of moisture in around it, sweeping in and feeding into, or feeding off of, I should say, the moisture in the Gulf of Mexico. We do have tropical storm warnings posted for our southeastern counties with those strong wind gusts around there. And computer models, again, we have the showers, a couple of thunderstorms that will be developing, but again, the majority of that rain stays to the east. Rainfall amounts are going to be maybe inch here in town. Lesser amounts out in the hill country, more off to the east, and so that's why there is a flash flood watch that's in effect in our eastern counties up until tomorrow evening. So the forecast today, we'll continue to see some scattered showers around this morning, maybe a thunderstorm. Again, the majority of everything is going to be to the east. High temperature today is 75, so clouds, rain's going to keep temperatures down definitely, and then tomorrow we'll still have some rain left over around here. Maybe a little bit of some clearing in the afternoon as that system makes that right-hand turn. But again, it's moving even slower right now, and which means more rain in our extreme eastern counties. But most of that's really going to be along the coast, it looks like.
Okay, so we know you guys will have us covered.
Yeah, I'm watching it.
All right, thank you, Mike. Right now, it is 5:22, 72 degrees.
And coming up next in your morning spotlight, a check about the big winners during a socially distant Emmy Awards as the stars stay home while accepting honors.
5:25, host Jimmy Kimmel called it the Pandemies. Sunday night's Emmys telecast was Hollywood's first major award show since the COVID-19 pandemic began.
CNN's David Daniel looks at how it all played out.
As you can see, we've taken every safety precaution, and these are tonight's nominees. Hello, everybody.
Jimmy Kimmel hosted a socially distanced 72nd Primetime Emmy Awards.
Eugene Levy, Schitt's Creek.
Schitt's Creek dominated the comedy category as Eugene Levy and Catherine O'Hara took the top acting awards.
I will forever be grateful to Eugene and Daniel Levy for the opportunity, for bestowing upon me the opportunity to play a woman of a certain age, my age.
Annie Murphy won Supporting Actress honors, and Daniel Levy, Eugene's son, won Comedy Writing, Directing, and Supporting Actor Emmys.
Okay, the internet's about to turn on me. I'm so sorry.
And the Canadian show made it a Schitt sweep by taking Outstanding Comedy Series.
This young man who took our fish out of water story about the Rose family and transformed it into a celebration of inclusivity, a castigation of homophobia, and a declaration of the power of love.
Youth was served in the drama category. Julia Garner won her second straight Supporting Actress trophy for Ozark, and Zendaya's win for Euphoria made her the youngest ever Emmy winner for Best Actress in a Drama.
I just want to say to all my peers out there doing the work in the streets, I see you, I admire you, I
thank you. And thank you so much. This is, whoa, okay. Thank you.
Billy Crudup took supporting actor in a drama honors for The Morning Show, and Succession won the category's other 4 awards, including Jeremy Strong for lead actor and outstanding drama series.
Such a very nice moment, and it's very sad not to be with the cast and some of the crew to share it.
But they were watching and celebrating separately, fitting for an awards show in 2020. Still self-isolating in Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
The strange new world we're in.
Yes, it is. I love David Daniel's outs. Still isolating in Hollywood.
Yeah, he always lets us know.
Yeah.
528, 72 degrees.
And still ahead in our next half hour, the process to find a successor for Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg turning into a major political battle.
A closer look at what the future of transportation in San Antonio may look like.
And if you're feeling a little under the weather, we have a few home remedies that may help you get back to normal.
Good morning to you. Hope you had a fantastic weekend. It is Monday, September 21st.
Thanks for joining us. Yes, it was a beautiful weekend. And now if you're hoping for rain, you might get just that.
Mike is getting us updated on Tropical Storm Beta.
Yep, still brewing out there in the Gulf of Mexico. It is continuing to work its way in toward the coast, but it looks like it slowed down a little bit, so it should be actually crossing the shore right there about sometime late tonight or in the wee hours tomorrow morning. Temperatures right now are in the low 70s, about 10 degrees above what it was yesterday. Yesterday was such a beautiful morning. It was nice and crisp and cool out there. Humidity has come back in as all this moisture continues to sweep on in here, as well as you can see some of the rain. This is just some clutter right around the radar site. We've got this spot that is working its way just to the north of Seguin. Everything's kind of moving in a southwestwardly direction, and of course more rain off to the east, and there is the center of circulation, and it's going to start to head in the direction of Victoria and then make land and kind of make almost a 90 or even more of a turn than that and just work its way back up to the northeast. Now, there are tropical storm warnings in effect for our southeastern counties through tomorrow with very strong winds wrapping around near the center of that storm. Also flash flood watches in our south and eastern counties. That's because obviously heaviest rain, maybe a half a foot of rain, going to be down here to the southeast. Lesser amounts progressively going off to the west throughout the rest of today. Molds on the moderate side, same thing with ragweed. A little bit of fall elm is showing up, and we are going to have showers and thunderstorms. One thing though, temperatures are definitely going to be held in check, basically holding steady all day long. Wind's going to start to pick up a little bit here in town. Obviously stronger winds off to the east. It is still forecast to just be, I say just be, but not gain hurricane strength before it makes landfall, and that's going to be later on tonight. Once we get through tomorrow, then, got a nice stretch of weather for the first few days officially of fall coming up this week. Details in just a couple of minutes. Time saver traffic right now. Officer Marcus Trujillo. It's been fairly quiet thus far. Still the case?
That's right, Mike. So far, so good out there on the roadways. Let's take a look at TransGuide once again. Right there, 410 at Fredericksburg Road, no issues. Then 21 at almost north and southbound lanes running smoothly. No delays around 410 San Pedro. That's closer to the airport. You can see east and westbound lanes moving freely with no problems in the downtown area. I-10 at the Y. Stephanie?
Thank you, Marcus. Fire breaks out at an apartment complex on the northeast side overnight. Our Katrina Weber joins us live from the 100 block of Andrew Street. Good morning, Katrina.
Well, good morning. Firefighters say this is a combination that's often warned against: cigarettes and an oxygen tank. That's what caused the fire here this morning. Now, things are very quiet, but quite a different scene earlier today. This broke out just before 3 o'clock. I believe we have video to show you from when firefighters were here. They say a man in his 60s who has health problems and needs to use an oxygen tank apparently went to light up a cigarette, and that's what sparked the fire. His recliner chair caught fire. Now, the man was not burned, but firefighters say he did suffer some injuries as he tried to escape his apartment. He was treated by them and also taken to a hospital. And again, they say that there is a warning about using an open flame near an oxygen tank. And apparently they say that man did not heed that warning, leading to the fire and also his subsequent injuries as he tried to escape. Reporting live north of downtown, Katrina Weber, KSAT 12 News.
Thank you, Katrina. An epic battle is brewing following the death of Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
As CNN's John Lawrence reports, President Donald Trump is likely to nominate a replacement soon, while Democrats say the process should wait until after the 2020 election.
As mourners hold nationwide vigils for Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, Republicans plan for her successor.
Now, it says the president is supposed to fill the seat, right? And that's what we're going to do. We're going to fill the seat.
That could lead to a supreme fight.
She said, "My most fervent wish is that I will not be replaced until a new president is installed."
Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell is pressing for a vote, but can likely only lose 3 GOP senators for the nomination to pass. And there is an elephant in McConnell's room.
He created a new rule, the McConnell rule. Absolutely no hearing, no vote for a nominee in an election year. Period. No caveats.
More than 4 years ago, McConnell led Republicans who refused to have a hearing or vote on then-President Barack Obama's Supreme Court nominee, Merrick Garland, saying,
"This appointment should be made by the next president."
But the White House says this is a matter of apples and oranges.
I reject the notion there's hypocrisy. As I said, the historical precedent is when your party's in power and the president nominates consistently, going back to George Washington, the party has continued to confirm those nominees.
I'm John Lawrence reporting.
Crash of a single-engine plane killed 4 people in a rural part of Texas over the weekend. It happened in a community called Hilltop Lakes, north of College Station. Texas Department of Public Safety says 2 men and 2 women died in the crash. They were flying from Austin to Louisiana. Investigators from the Federal Aviation Administration are looking into the crash. DPS says the pilot had contacted the FAA about an emergency landing related to engine problems.
Archaeologists in China recently came across 2 perfectly preserved dinosaur fossils from a newly discovered species. The fossils found in northeast China appear to be of burrowing dinosaurs. It's believed that they were trapped by a volcanic eruption while resting at the bottom of their burrows. Scientists think they were very small plant-eating dinosaurs that could run very fast and could dig burrows very much like rabbits do today.
Wow, interesting discovery.
Yeah, hard to imagine.
A plant-eating dinosaur. I know they exist.
Well, right, but not
they
the
weren't all
ones.
velociraptors or T-Rexes.
Right, not the glorious ones, I guess, right?
Right. 537, 72 degrees.
And still ahead, whether you have a sore throat or a bad cough, we have some remedies from health experts that can help make you feel better again.
And we have an update on the coronavirus vaccine as President Trump insists his administration will begin distributing one within 24 hours of its approval.
And taking a look out with live cam, 72 degrees. We are expecting some rain, but as far as Beta, Mike says it might be later tonight when it makes landfall. We're going to check in with him after the break.
The nationwide coronavirus death toll is now at nearly 200,000 American lives lost.
27 states are seeing a rise in cases as another motorcycle rally sparks new fears. ABC's Megan Tevrizian has the latest.
This morning, the U.S. facing 200,000 coronavirus deaths. In Washington, a somber tribute on Sunday. The National Cathedral bells tolling 200 times, 1 for every 1,000 deaths. Now, many doctors dreading the fall.
We don't have a clear-cut treatment for this virus, and we don't know if we're going to get a vaccine.
An annual bike fest at the Lake of the Ozarks ending Sunday after drawing more than 100,000 people, many without wearing masks.
You could ask every biker or whatever, anything going on in the world, it ain't going to stop us riding.
On Friday, President Trump insisting his administration will begin distributing a vaccine within 24 hours of its approval. But a new ABC Ipsos poll showed 53% of Americans surveyed have no confidence at all in President Trump to confirm the safety and effectiveness of a potential coronavirus vaccine. It comes as a congresswoman from Connecticut tests positive for COVID and as Hawaii prepares to reopen to visitors. Residents there frustrated with confusing COVID-19 restrictions that have resulted in 10,000 police citations in 1 week.
I've received complaints from even lawyers who couldn't understand what they were allowed to do and what they were prohibited from doing.
Meanwhile, new concerns at schools.
I just think it's very selfish and irresponsible.
An Attleboro, Massachusetts student testing positive, but their parents sending them to school anyway.
This one was an egregious violation of the rules.
30 students now in quarantine.
And now some student athletes testing positive for COVID-19 have to undergo a cardiac evaluation that includes an echocardiogram before they're allowed to return to exercise. It comes as the Washington NFL team owner had to miss a game after coming in contact with someone who contracted the virus. Dan Snyder tested negative, but is quarantining as a precaution. Megan Tavrizian, ABC News, San Diego.
542, 72 degrees.
And coming up next, San Antonio is expected to grow by 1 million more people in the next 20 years. We're going to take a look at what that means for citywide transportation.
It is something that affects us all, transportation.
Oh, yes, it does. And this Thursday on our weekly digital program, KSAT Explains, we're continuing our conversation about transit in San Antonio. Here's Myra Arthur with a preview.
It is so often a challenge for major cities, but a particular struggle for San Antonio, how to improve transportation.
If you were to ask somebody, well, tell me the most important things for the success of your city, they would say economics and jobs, education, good housing, crime measures, quality of life. They might never mention transportation. But transportation is inherent in all of those things.
Especially for a city expected to grow by 1 million more people in the next 20 years.
So if you want to envision what our streets and transportation network would look like if all that Austin traffic was in San Antonio on top of what we have today.
There are plans in the works to try to keep us all moving, but not everyone is on board.
Texans don't like to be forced into stuff. You know, they like choices. They like their cars. They like the independence.
Getting where we need to go means so much more than just easing traffic congestion.
It increases air quality problems that lead to lung disease and cancers and heart disease.
Add in a global pandemic, and now our city is being forced to look at even more possible resources to reroute the direction in which we're all headed.
If we're serious about recovery, if we're serious about workforce development and economic mobility, then we have to start being serious about transportation.
So what could the future of transit look like in our city, and how will that future be funded? KSAT Explains, Part 2 of Transportation in SA.
In your morning consumer headlines, oil prices up just a bit this morning as Tropical Storm Beta threatens the Gulf of Mexico. It's the third storm in a month, so once again, some areas have been evacuated. Parts of Texas and Louisiana are expected to get up to a foot of rain.
The recovery after the coronavirus shutdowns is proving to be a bit of a double whammy for meat packers and farmers. Production has rebounded so quickly from earlier this year that food products like chicken wings and prime rib, there's actually too much supply. As a result, prices have fallen below pre-pandemic levels. Feeling under the weather is never fun, and sometimes it can take weeks to feel better.
But as cold and flu season approach quickly, Sarah Costa has a few home remedies that may help you feel better.
Experts with Healthline say if you have a sore throat, ginger, honey, and gargling salt water can help. They say ginger has health benefits, and putting a few slices of raw ginger root in boiling water may help soothe a cough or sore throat. Research also suggests ginger can help if you feel nauseous. As for honey, experts say drinking it with tea and a lemon can help soothe a sore throat. It can also suppress a bad cough and reduce cold symptoms. If you want to strengthen your immune system, experts suggest taking vitamin C and probiotic supplements. They say limes, oranges, lemons, and vegetables are a great source of vitamin C. Probiotics are good bacteria that's naturally found in your body. It helps keep your gut and immune system healthy. Experts say both vitamin C and probiotics can help with upper respiratory infections.
For congestion, experts recommend a humidifier. Influenza spreads easier in dry environments, so more humidity in your home may reduce your exposure to flu-like viruses. Most importantly, if you're sick, stay at home so you don't infect anyone else. Sarah Costa, KSAT 12 News.
One of the first things my doctor asks me when I have the sniffles is, hey, do you have a humidifier, especially during the winter months?
Yes, that goes in and out at our house very, very often.
Let's get an update on the humidity momentarily with Mike. First up, here's Marcus, time saver traffic.
And as we take a look at the roadway, still looking great, so no problems out there. This is 410 up there by the airport, San Pedro, and that's I-10 at the Y, where we have no issues. Taking a look at 35 at FM 1103, north and southbound lanes are starting to pick up in volume. However, no delays in anyone's travel times right now.
Fantastic news. Mike, that humidity has surged overnight, hasn't it?
Yeah, and what's interesting is even though we have more humidity down here at the surface, upstairs in the atmosphere, it's still really, really dry. And that's what's working against the tropical storm from really kind of coming in here gangbusters. So this almost looks like something from some sci-fi movie with this, covering the area, but that's bone dry air, and this is just plain old dry air, and there's not a lot of moisture upstairs in the atmosphere. And then you look right out here, and there's the tropical storm kind of sitting there by itself in this sea of very very, very dry air. And so it's running into that dry air, and that's what's just kind of tearing the thing apart a little bit, if you will, as it continues to run into this dry air. There's nothing for it to feed off of, obviously. Now, we do have some showers that have been popping up, just a couple of them, one moving in toward Hondo. There's some clutter around the radar site right in there near Seguin. That's kind of going to be scooting right down I-10, a few of them down around Atascosa and Wilson County. And then there, obviously, is the center of the storm. A few more showers well off to the east. And what's interesting is looking at the spaghetti models. And of course, earlier on with this, they were kind of all over the place. And still, the majority of them have it moving to the basically west-northwest, but some have this thing just sliding up in toward Houston immediately. But then the cluster right here has everything making that very, very sharp right-hand turn right there along the coast. And that's pretty much the Hurricane Center's forecast. It comes on in here just as as a tropical storm, not gaining hurricane strength, and it will continue to almost make sure by later on tonight. It's going to be probably in the wee hours of tomorrow morning when it finally moves on land. Obviously, we'll feel the effects of it out ahead of that, and then it's going to make that big right-hand turn. And the heaviest rain and the greatest surge is going to be on the right-hand side in relation to the direction of travel. So that's going to be further up along the coast. Now, obviously, this is going to be tapping into a lot of moisture, and that's going to be wrapping around. But the heaviest rain is going to be, and the highest winds, well down here to the southeast. Tropical storm warnings for our southeastern counties, gusts up to 50 miles per hour. And then also, that's where the heaviest rain, like I was saying, is going to be, which is what this computer model is pretty much indicating. We will have some showers and thunderstorms around here in town. Basically east of I-35. Yes, there's going to be some rain in parts of the hill country, but the majority of it will be well off to the east. And of course, that's where we'll see maybe a half a foot of rain, possibly right there along the coast. And then it gets progressively less going out to the west. And you may kind of, west of San Antonio, be going, what tropical storm? Some folks won't get anything from this well out there to the west. And there's also flash flood watches for our southeastern counties through tomorrow evening. So forecast goes like this today. We will continue to see more showers developing throughout the rest of the morning, and by noon, 73 degrees, a couple of thunderstorms. And again, everything has mainly off to the east, where some of the heaviest is going to be. Later on this afternoon, same situation. Most interesting thing is the fact that we're only going to be at 75 degrees today, and some of that heavy rain well off to the east. The cloud cover and the rain is going to help to keep temperatures down. Tomorrow we'll have rain, and should be basically first half of the day. Then it'll start to taper off as that storm makes that big right-hand turn and works its way right up the coast. Then we'll have a lot of sunshine, looks like, throughout the rest of the week. It is going to be warm, though, getting up a little bit above normal by the weekend, up to around 90. And, of course, fall begins tomorrow morning.
Yes, ready to fall into autumn.
Yep.
Well, at least, I was going to say, at least technically we're fall, but, I'm seeing the 90s at Saturday and Sunday again. I'm like, no.
Yeah, you can fall into autumn, but you can't autumn into fall.
That's true, at least not at this moment. We'll figure it out. 5:53, 72 degrees.
Take a look at your winning lotto numbers. We have pick 3, 950, Fireball 8, Daily 4, 7574, Fireball 7.
Cash 5, 5, 19, 20, 23, 34. Lotto Texas 3, 5, 28, 31, 36, 46. Add Powerball 11, 14, 23, 47, 57. Powerball 14, Power Play 4.
Good morning. It's Monday, and coming up here on GMA, we are celebrating the life and legacy of Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. This morning, the tributes are still pouring in for the legal legend who inspired generations of women and fought fearlessly for women's rights. As Americans across this nation honor the incomparable leader, the fight to replace her is taking shape. All eyes are on President Trump's short list as he promises to put in a nomination next week and says it will be a woman. The Democrats are saying they're going to do everything in their limited power to fight this, including possibly impeachment. We'll get into it all right here on GMA.
Still ahead on GMSA, whether it's online or in person, millions of kids in the United States are back in class, but struggling with speaking English. We'll show you how one young woman is helping immigrants and refugees break through barriers and succeed at school. Quick look at TransGuide. There's 1604 Valley Meadow. The camera is aiming straight down at the ground, looks like. 1604 Bandera Road, there's light traffic, and there is 410 at Crossroads. A cleaning product you may have in your house right now has just been approved to kill the coronavirus. We'll tell you how Pine Sol can be used to keep you and your family safe.
And taking a look out with live cam this morning, it is 72 degrees, but we are bracing for some rain as we wait to see when Beta will make landfall. We're going to check in with Mike in just a bit.
Live from KSAT 12. Good morning, San Antonio starts right now.
And good morning. It is Monday. It is September 21st.
Thanks for joining us this morning. Hope you had a beautiful weekend. It definitely was beautiful outdoors.
The weather was fabulous with cooler temperatures, especially in the morning hours, but everything has changed this morning, and it's mainly due to that tropical storm out in the western Gulf of Mexico.
Yep, tropical storm Beta, which is continuing to work its way in our direction. It has slowed down somewhat, so it really won't be making landfall until probably just after midnight.
Wow.
We'll obviously start to see the effects of that, though, a lot sooner. And as a matter of fact, we're already starting to see some of the effects of it as of right now. 50-mile-per-hour winds, and it is moving to the west at 6 miles per hour. Like I said, it has slowed down somewhat. It will just about be right offshore 1 o'clock this afternoon, and then again right after midnight is when it should be making land, still as a tropical storm, and then it's going to make a big right-hand turn and work its way off to the northeast. And obviously, the majority of any rain is going to be well off to the east to northeast. We've got a couple of scattered showers around here, as you can see. Everything's coming in here from the east, and just maybe one or two in town. Here's just a couple of these little scattered showers down around Pleasanton as well, up around Seguin as on top of that, and then more of that rain well off to the east right there in closer to the storm. We've got mold on the moderate side, same thing with ragweed. A little bit of fall elm is showing up right now. Temperatures are in the low 70s, may drop a degree or two, and then we're really not going to go anywhere throughout the day as far as temperatures are concerned. That's because of the cloud cover, obviously, and some of that rain out there. So mid-70s at noon, top off at 75 degrees, obviously well below normal. And it is going to be a little bit on the breezy side. Wind out of the northeast, 10, 15, maybe 20 miles per hour. A lot windier off to the east, and heavier rain off to the east, lesser rain amounts off to the west. Fall officially begins tomorrow. Will it feel like fall anytime this week? Details coming up in just a couple of minutes. Time saver traffic right now. Officer of the Year. You won that prize, by the way.
Well, thank you. Right now, as we take a look at the roadway, does that mean Mark goes to get us tacos?
Yes, it does.
Oh, awesome. As we take a look, even Stephanie says yes. Right now, as we take a look at the roadway, still no accidents, no delays in anyone's travel times. However, we are starting to see some increases in the traffic. Right now, I-10 to Y still looking pretty good, but take a look at this one here. There we go. 35 at FM 1103. Definitely heavier traffic on those southbound main lanes. Northbound, not too bad at this point. And even 1604 out there at Valley Meadow starting to show some increased signs of traffic out there. Mark?
Thank you very much, Marcus. New this morning, San Antonio Fire Department says a man in his 60s was injured in a fire at his apartment. Firefighters responded to the call at an apartment complex around 2 this morning in the 100 block of Andrews, which is near North New Braunfels. They say the man who has COPD was having a cigarette next to his oxygen tank. The cigarette lit the oxygen on fire and his chairs caught on fire. Firefighters say he injured himself while trying to get out of the apartment but was not burned. He's currently in the hospital.
Also new this morning, San Antonio police looking for a driver who crashed a car into a home overnight. Police say it happened around 1 in the morning in the 3000 block of East South Cross. This is on the southeast side, about a block away from Highland Hills Elementary School. Police say that driver lost control and crashed into the front of a house. That driver then got out and ran away. Officers say they are still working to track that person down.
Well, Governor Abbott is asking Texans along the Gulf Coast to be extra careful as Tropical Storm Beta approaches. In a statement, the governor says everyone in the path of the storm should follow the advice of local officials, especially if there are evacuation notices. He also says the state of Texas is prepared to support communities feeling the effects of the storm, including flash flooding and heavy rainfall.
And many people along the coast heeded the governor's warning and started bracing for Tropical Storm Beta. In Port O'Connell, parts of the community began to flood as a heavy downpour made its way inland. Some tell us they prepared for the storm, but others felt Beta was not a huge threat.
I don't see this as a big risk at all. I think we'll get a little rain out of it.
We're stocked up on plenty of stuff, to perishables, non-perishable, to get through.
We would not stay if it was really bad. We would leave.
And Port O'Connell has weathered several storms and hurricanes in its history. One of the most devastating was Hurricane Carla, which caused major damage to homes and businesses back in 1961.
Dare County saw a spike in the number of total COVID-19 cases over the weekend. Metro Health says that's because nearly 2,500 cases were backlogged. Those cases are from various labs and date ranges. City officials say the backlog is causing issues across the state, not just San Antonio. Meanwhile, local health officials reported 108 new cases of COVID-19 yesterday and 2 new deaths. Local officials will update us again late this afternoon about the virus here in San Antonio.
The Environmental Protection Agency has approved Pine Sol as a product that can kill the coronavirus on frequently used surfaces. Clorox, the company that makes Pine Sol, says a laboratory found it kills the virus after 10 minutes. The company says you should use the full-strength Pine Sol and scrub it with a clean sponge or cloth, then just rinse with water.
Well, a big story we are following this morning. The FBI arrested a woman accused of sending President Donald Trump a letter laced with poison. Investigators say they arrested the suspect at a border in Buffalo, New York. ABC's Alex Brochet has details.
Overnight, an arrest made in connection with a letter sent to the White House containing the deadly poison ricin. The FBI confirming to ABC News that a woman was taken into custody in Buffalo as she tried to enter the U.S. from Canada. Investigators announced this weekend that a suspicious letter addressed to the president had been intercepted at an off-site facility that screens mail. Inside the envelope, ricin, a highly toxic poison that can cause organ failure and death. The woman under arrest has not been identified. It's not the first time authorities have arrested someone accused of sending ricin-laced letters to the White House. In 2018, a Navy veteran confessed to sending envelopes to President Trump and members of his administration that contained the poison. And in 2014, a Mississippi man was sentenced to 25 years in prison after sending letters dusted with ricin to President Obama. This morning, it is still unclear when that letter was sent to the White House. Reports saying authorities are also investigating similar packages sent to addresses in Texas. Alex Prochet, ABC News, Washington.
Back here at home, KSAT will hold a political forum with the candidates for Bexar County Commissioner Precinct 3 tomorrow. Republican Trish DeBerry and Democrat Christine Hortick will participate in a debate starting at 7:30 p.m. tomorrow evening. KSAT Steve Spriester will moderate the debate, and it will be live streamed on KSAT.com. Precinct 3 encompasses most of the north side of the county. You can submit a question you would like to ask by finding this story on our website at KSAT.com.
607, 72 degrees.
One local woman rescuing dogs from the shelter and using them to help military veterans. We're going to learn more about the organization in Dogs We Trust.
Some everyday household items could spell disaster for your pets. After the break, we'll see which common products you should keep out of the reach of your animals.
And taking a look out with live cam, Mike says Beta probably will not make landfall until midnight, but we're going to still see some rain. We're going to check in with him after the break.
Every year, animal control centers receive more than 200,000 cases concerning potential poisonings of pets.
Many of those involve common items found in your house. Sarah Costa tells us about those toxins that pet parents need to watch out for in their home.
With their sniffing snouts and mischievous mouths, pets are always putting the strangest things in their mouths.
A sock.
A dead lizard.
A tampon.
But did you know some everyday items and foods could be downright dangerous to your pet's health? Raw bread dough is an unexpected poisonous hazard for dogs. The yeast cells produce ethanol, which can quickly raise your dog's blood alcohol level, causing alcohol poisoning. Avocados are mildly poisonous to cats and dogs, but can be deadly to horses, birds, and rabbits. Medications count for just over 37% of calls to animal poison control centers. Ibuprofen, cold medicine, antidepressants, ADHD medications were the ones most commonly ingested by dogs, followed by heart medications. These can cause difficulty breathing and vomiting in cats, and liver failure, dry eye, and red blood cell injury in dogs.
Products you buy from your vet may also be dangerous to your pet. They accounted for 10% of calls to animal poison control. Pets may overindulge on those medications, thinking they are treats. For GMSA, I'm Sarah Costa, KSAT 12 News.
Who knew? Bread dough and avocados.
Avocado was the one that got me. I had no idea. I mean, not that I would offer it to my dog,
Right.
but still I didn't know it was bad news.
That's the kind of thing I'd give a little chunk of avocado to Truman, and he'd probably anyway. So
Yeah, he's
not gonna be a problem.
He's like, not this one, Dad.
The bread dough he would want, but it's off the table at our house.
Yep, it is.
Right now it's 6:13.
Let's go ahead and check in with Officer Marcus Trujillo. Earlier, not too many problems on the road.
And not too bad right now. Things look pretty good. Avocado to the dogs, them's fighting words. Dog's not getting my avocado. Right now, you can take a look at the roadway. Still not too bad. I-10 and Medical, eastbound and westbound lanes, starting to see some increases in the traffic, but really not too bad all the way through I-10 and Wurzbach. And then look on the southeast side, 37 at Military, north and southbound lanes at 37. Look pretty good. A few sprinkles there on the lens there look like. And then 37 at Hackberry, north and southbound lanes. So far, no issues all the way through 37 at I-10.
So far, so good, but I guess drivers might have to watch out for rain.
Might be dodging a shower or two, especially if your road trip takes you east of San Antonio today.
Yeah, that's where the heaviest rain is going to be, and then especially then later on this afternoon as this all starts to develop and as the storm works its way in closer. Temperatures this morning are down considerably, or excuse me, up considerably. It's the afternoon temperatures that are going to be down, so we're in the low 70s right now. I'm going for 70 when it's all said and done this morning with a couple of showers as we start to see. And then, yeah, down considerably this afternoon, 75 for a high. Normal high is in the upper 80s, so almost 15 degrees, 10 to 15 degrees below normal with some showers and some thunderstorms out there. And take a look right now with, is it going to pop up on me? Nope, I didn't have that KSAT Connect picture. Love technology. Looked like it was going to show up. Here's a live look at downtown from the Southside, and you can see there's more haze out there this morning. More of that humidity, completely different picture than what we had around here yesterday. And we've got some of these showers that have been pushed out ahead of the storm overnight. So we had a few showers move on through, a little break in the action. Now more are starting to develop. And as a matter of fact, even seeing a few more up close, these scattered little showers in and around town. So you may run into one or two of them later on this morning or throughout the rest of the morning, and then more developing throughout the rest of the afternoon. And then obviously the majority of that rain is well off there in association with the center of that storm. Now, the storm is still offshore. It is going to take about another, say, 18 hours or so before it ever reaches land. So it has slowed down somewhat, just moving at about 6 miles per hour to the west, basically. And by later on this afternoon, just after lunchtime, again, still hasn't made it onshore, and then it looks like it's going to be sometime about midnight or just after that when it finally makes it on land. And then it's going to make a big right-hand turn and work its way almost coming back on itself, heading up in toward Galveston. So the majority of wind, rain is going to be off to the east. Tropical storm warnings for our southeastern counties throughout the rest of the afternoon. Here's the computer model, and yeah, we will obviously see some rain. There will be some out to the west, but obviously lesser amounts off to the west. And then as that storm works its way up to the northeast, it's going to take the majority of the rain with it up there. Rainfall totals maybe half a foot of rain well off to the east in some of our extreme eastern counties, even almost out of our viewing area, and then lesser amounts further to the west. Could see an inch of rain along the I-35 corridor and much lesser amounts further off to the west. And of course, there may be some heavier pockets here and there. Flash flood watch in our eastern counties today through tomorrow evening. And it's going to be one of those situations where, of course, it's quite a gradient from east to west. Heavier rain, higher winds to the east, less off to the west. 73 degrees today at noon. Showers, a couple of thunderstorms around the area, and then more developing later on this afternoon. A high temperature of only 75 degrees. Tomorrow we'll still have some rain around here. Rain overnight and into tomorrow, and then it's going to start to taper off throughout the day as that storm works its way off to the back off to the northeast, and we'll make it back up to 80 tomorrow. Fall officially begins in the morning tomorrow, and not bad looking week. It is going to be close to normal readings throughout the middle part of the week, and then it's going to get warmer as we head on in toward the weekend.
Well, that storm that's one heck of a right-hand turn.
Yeah, it's almost, not quite not quite a hairpin turn, but it's coming back on itself just about because,
really?
Yeah, and it's running into such a dry air around here, and that's why, except right there along the coast, the rest of us aren't going to see an overabundance of rain.
Gotcha. All right, we will prepare for the rain that we do get. Thank you, Mike.
618, 72 degrees.
And the Emmys took place in front of a largely crowdless audience, but with more than 100 participants at different locations. We will see the night in review after the break.
Here's your secret word of the day. Enter it on KSAT.com/Circle K for a monthly chance to win free gas for a year. Every entry wins a medium coffee. Win with Circle K and GMSA.
I wanted more from my COPD medicine. That's why I've got the power of 1, 2, 3 medicines with Trelegy. The only FDA-approved once daily 3-in-1 COPD treatment.
Trelegy, the power of 1, 2, 3. Trelegy, 1, 2, 3. Trelegy.
With Trelegy and the power of 1, 2, 3, I'm breathing better. Trelegy works 3 ways to open airways, keep them open, and reduce inflammation for 24 hours of better breathing.
Trelegy won't replace a rescue inhaler for sudden breathing problems. Trelegy is not for asthma. Tell your doctor if you have a heart condition or high blood pressure before taking it. Do not take Trelegy more than prescribed. Trelegy may increase your risk of thrush, pneumonia, and osteoporosis. Call your doctor if worsened breathing, chest pain, mouth or tongue swelling, problems urinating, vision changes, or eye pain occur.
Think your COPD medicine is doing enough? Maybe you should think again.
Ask your doctor about once daily Trelegy. We know times are hard, and we're here for you. Find support at Trelegy.com.
And this week in our What's Up South Texas series, 60-year-old Sherry Jenkins dedicates her life to rescuing dogs from shelters and then training them to be service dogs for veterans suffering from PTSD. Jenkins started her nonprofit organization called In Dog We Trust. That was back in 2012. She and her team of volunteers across the state work to train each dog for the specific needs of a veteran. She says the experience is beyond rewarding.
When you have someone that you've placed a German Shepherd with that was going to be killed, and he sends you a picture of him with the dog that he's alerting to his seizures and sleeps with him, and he sends you a message to say thank you.
Jenkins says they are always in need of volunteers and fosters for dogs. She says COVID-19 has slowed things down, but she plans to launch operations differently starting in October. To learn more about her story, you can visit our website at KSAT.com.
Well, the 72nd Annual Emmy Awards looked quite a bit different this year. Instead of an auditorium packed with people, awards were given virtually. Live cameras in more than 100 locations gave the moment a more personal touch. ABC's George Pinocchio has a review of the award show.
You know what they say, you can't have a virus without a host.
Jimmy Kimmel got some help from old award show footage for his monologue, but then he revealed an empty Staples Center. Oh, the magic of television. And celebrating that magic is what Hollywood did Sunday night, with live cameras in more than 100 locations, all right there with the nominees. We saw one camera a lot, and that's because that Canadian comedy with the controversial title swept the comedy honors, with Emmys for stars Catherine O'Hara and Eugene Levy, plus Annie Murphy and Dan Levy. Dan also won Emmys for writing and directing the series.
But what an absolutely unbelievable way to end our series. I don't think you could ever ask for a better conclusion to a story than tonight. So we are absolutely thrilled.
On the drama side, Succession was named Best Series. That shows Jeremy Strong, Best Actor. Euphoria's Zendaya became drama's youngest Best Actress winner. Both talked about winning during this unusual time in history.
And I wish, we could be giving out awards to people working on the front lines and MTA workers and hospital workers and delivery drivers. And but I feel like it was reflected in the ceremony tonight that this community appreciates and acknowledges those people.
I'm just grateful for moments like this, moments where we can have joy and we can wrap our arms around our loved ones and tell each other we love each other and we're proud of each other. I think it's moments like this that we really have to all hold on to and cherish.
Watchmen won in the limited series or movie category. So did its leading lady, Regina King, who wore a t-shirt honoring shooting victim Breonna Taylor.
So when I saw my sister Uzo had on the same shirt, it was a confirmation that this was right.
In his speech, Mark Ruffalo, who won the category's Best Actor Emmy for I Know This Much Is True, urged people to vote. In Los Angeles, George Pinocchio for ABC News.
Very different this year.
Quite a bit different.
Yes, time now, 6:25 and 72 degrees for now.
The debate has just begun over filling the seat on the Supreme Court held by Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. We'll hear which senators support finding a replacement now and which ones do not.
And children who have immigrants or refugees for parents may have some disadvantages at school. We're going to learn about one woman who's making sure young students can achieve the American dream in education.
As we take a look at TransSky, a few droplets on the camper lids out there, 37 and southeast military, some showers in the area, so we'll get updated from both Mike and Marcus after the break.
As the country continues to mourn the loss of Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, there is a debate heating up in the nation's capital about whether or not to replace her seat before the election. I'm Alex Bechet in Washington. I'll have details coming up.
Outside with live cam, if you enjoyed dry, cool weather over the weekend, the humidity is not only back this morning, but Tropical Storm Beta is already spinning some showers towards San Antonio. Good morning to you, everybody. It is Monday. It is September 21st.
Happy Monday. Thank you so much for joining us. And we were so lucky to have a beautiful weekend, and now we're lucky to get some rain.
We do need some rain. Of course, some folks may get too much depending on where they are in the Lone Star State. Here's Mike with the latest on Tropical Storm Beta.
And what's interesting is looking at that live cam from 410 I-10 area, there was nothing out there. And now this is over there by, I believe, is that... That's the Southside camera. Yeah, it has just been kind of moved around a little bit, but it is definitely raining out there. And as you can see, the rain is continuing to work its way from almost working its way down to the southwest, basically east to west. And we've got these few showers. There was nothing earlier this morning, obviously, but now we've got more of these showers that are kind of popping up around the area. So just enough to make things kind of slippery on the roads. Further on out to the east, there is the center of the storm, which is being picked up on radar as of right now. Victoria down toward Corpus Christi, another line of some decent showers, and we will continue to see more rain developing throughout the day. 50-mile-per-hour sustained wind, so still just tropical storm, and it's going to remain at tropical storm strength, moving to the west pretty slowly at 6 miles per hour. So it will take until probably about midnight or just after midnight for it to officially make landfall. And obviously we'll see rain well out ahead of it, though, throughout the rest of today. Mold and ragweed are both on the moderate side. And we have showers around this morning, showers, a couple of thunderstorms later on this afternoon into tonight. And basically the first portion of the day tomorrow, then rain should begin to taper off as that storm, once it makes land, it's really going to make a sharp kind of right-hand turn, if you will, and work its way back up to the northeast, up in in toward Galveston. And then after that, good looking forecast as we enter into the first few days of fall. Details coming up in just a couple of minutes. Time saver traffic right now, Officer Marcus Trujillo. And nothing showing up at the map, but I bet that rain's going to...
Not yet, and things are changing by the minute. And as you and I were discussing earlier, we're starting to see some of those cameras on the outskirts on the east side with some raindrops. But now, here's the latest. Now we're seeing 281 Hildebrand. Look at the reflection there on the road there. And that's long turning curve. That's not going to be good with those slick conditions. So remember, folks, both hands on the wheel, put away those distractions, and reduce that speed this morning. Mark?
Thank you, Marcus. New this morning, tributes continue to pour in for Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. The 87-year-old died this weekend of complications from pancreatic cancer.
Her death is sparking an intense debate in Washington, D.C. over her seat and if it should be filled before the November election. ABC's Alex Perche has more from the nation's capital.
This morning, as tributes pour in for Ruth Bader Ginsburg, the battle to fill her Supreme Court seat heats up. President Trump last night held a tele-rally on Facebook and repeated he will announce his nominee sometime this week.
We have tremendous women on the list, as you know, and it will be a highly qualified person. It will be a woman that we choose, and the nomination will be put forth sometime next week.
ABC News learning overnight the president spent the weekend on the phone with advisors and members of Congress regarding Justice Ginsburg's replacement. 3 women are on his short list. Democrats already reacting to news that federal appeals court judge Amy Coney Barrett is the leading frontrunner.
She stands for all the things Ruth Bader Ginsburg was against, and so many things that the vast majority of American people are against.
Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell is promising the president's choice will get a vote on the floor of the Senate, a reversal of his position in 2016 when he refused to consider President Obama's nominee during an election year.
This vacancy should not be filled by this lame duck president.
The president's rival, Joe Biden, calling on other Republicans to let Americans' voices be heard.
I'm speaking to those Republicans out there, Senate Republicans, who know deep down what is right for the country and consistent with the Constitution.
At least 4 members of the Republican Party would need to join Democrats to delay a confirmation of the president's nominee. Republicans Lisa Murkowski and Susan Collins have already said they will not support a vote before the election. This morning, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi is not taking anything off the table to stop a nomination before the election.
We have arrows in our quiver that I'm not about to discuss right now. But the fact is, we have a big challenge in our country. This president has threatened to not even accept the results of the election.
Meantime, late Sunday, we got word from Republican Senator Lamar Alexander that he does support a confirmation vote in an election year, ending speculation that the retiring senator might buck party lines. Alex Perche, ABC News, Washington.
Your other morning headlines. President Donald Trump's former national security advisor says withdrawing U.S. troops from Afghanistan and Germany is a mistake. In an interview with 60 Minutes Sunday, H.R. McMaster says the president has made too many concessions in peace talks with the Taliban. McMaster also believes the withdrawal of American armed forces is being done hastily and is leaving our allies in a weakened position.
Democratic presidential candidate Joe Biden has a financial lead over President Donald Trump. Biden's campaign announced it has $466 million in cash reserves. Last week, a spokesman for the president tweeted that the president has $325 million in cash stockpile. This is a change from earlier in the campaign when the president held a fundraising lead.
In your morning consumer news, Foot Locker is helping voters get a leg up this election year. The athletic retailer joining forces with Rock the Vote to offer voter registration services. Foot Locker customers will be able to sign up to register in store. CEO Richard Johnson says the plan is to inspire and empower the youth culture. According to their website, Rock the Vote has registered 3 million people to date. There are 8 Foot Locker stores around the San Antonio area.
Oil prices are slightly higher this morning because of Tropical Storm Beta. Beta is the 3rd named storm in a month in the Gulf of Mexico and is threatening the Texas coast with large amounts of rain. According to Gas Buddy, the average price per gallon in San Antonio is $1.81. It is $1.87 in Texas, and nationwide the average is $2.17 per gallon.
A German economic think tank says global trade is rebounding more quickly than expected after spring closures due to the COVID-19 pandemic. It says the global economy has made up nearly half of the losses posted earlier this year. However, it shows that China is the only economy on track to show growth this year.
And meanwhile, the meatpacking and farming economy has been hit harder during the pandemic. Production has rebounded so quickly from earlier this year that things like chicken wings and prime rib are flooding the market. Because there is too much supply, prices on many meat products are lower than pre-pandemic levels.
Right now, 6:37, 72 degrees.
And whether it's online or in person, millions of kids in the U.S. will be headed back to class struggling with speaking English. After the break, we're going to see how one young woman is helping immigrants and refugees break through barriers and succeed at school.
Welcome back to Good Morning San Antonio. 25% of U.S. children have parents who are an immigrant or refugee. These children are more likely to struggle in school and are more likely to live in poverty.
A language barrier, poverty, and little access to early childhood education can all impact a child's potential. David Sears introduces us to a woman from Orlando, Florida, who is working to help children make the most of their American dream.
So today we're going to learn about human rights that children have.
16-year-old Alexis Dorman works hard to make sure every child knows their rights.
That boys and girls are the same. I thought that we didn't have the same rules.
I found a niche for helping refugees and immigrants.
I'm from Venezuela, but now I am on United States.
Alexis founded KFIR, gathering multilingual student volunteers.
I speak fluent Portuguese and somewhat Spanish.
I speak English, Urdu, and then some Arabic.
To hold workshops and give online tutorials.
Today, KFIR will be sailing into STEM.
Alexis put in 1,000 hours developing a curriculum focused on elementary-aged immigrants.
We build trust and bonds and friendships.
They can kind of find kids who are experiencing the same things they are in school.
Broadening these young minds on what the future can hold for them.
Making sure that they're aware that there are opportunities for them to go to college and technical school.
Her pilot programs are already seeing results.
I believe that it is detrimental because we're building their character.
And that's what KFIR is all about, helping kids become successful in the future.
I hope I can help make that difference in their life.
It's important that we bring our ideas together and advocate for peace amongst refugees and immigrants.
It's projected that by the year 2040, 1 in every 3 children in the United States will grow up in an immigrant household. The majority right now are from Latin America, with Asian immigrants representing the second largest group. David Sears, KSAT 12 News.
Pro football coverage, powered by Davis Law Firm.
In morning sports, the hearts of many Cowboys fans still beating fast after yesterday's thriller in Arlington. It's the first home game for the Cowboys playing against the Falcons. First half rough. Atlanta scored the first 20 points and had a 29-10 lead at half. The Cowboys found a rhythm in the second half. Dak Prescott runs in 3 touchdowns himself, putting Dallas behind 2 points with under 2 minutes to go. After a successful onside kick and a long completion, Cowboys kicker Greg Zuerlein puts a 46-yard field goal through the uprights as time expires. Cowboys win 40-39. Cowboys go back on the road for the next game. They take on the Seahawks on Sunday at 3:25 in the afternoon. Houston Texans also had their home opener, although it was not a happy affair. The Texans took on the Baltimore Ravens. It was a back and forth game up until the fumble, which led to a Baltimore touchdown 4 plays later. One of the only highlights is by J.J. Watt. He had 2 sacks in the game, which gives him an NFL record of 69 games with multiple quarterback hits. But even Watt could not save the game, and Houston loses 33-16 to a really good Baltimore team. Texans head to Pennsylvania for the next game, taking on the Steelers at noon on Sunday. Looking for their first win of the season. And if you want the best sports coverage in town, be sure to tune in to KSAT's Instant Replay. You can get the latest national, regional, and local sports coverage. Tune in every Sunday at 11 right here on KSAT 12. You can also follow Instant Replay on social media to stay connected to your favorite sports stories.
It was very funny yesterday. My husband's a Cowboys fan, so in the beginning he was like, making, complaining noises, and then was like, oh, yay!
Oh,
what a switch.
The social media messages went from one direction to the other. Folks were giving up and just frustrated as heck, and people are still recovering from their heart attacks after that win.
Yes, and still posting about it.
And still posting about it. Let's check out Marcus, see how things are looking over in the traffic department.
Well, we're seeing more and more TransGuide cameras with drops on the lens and also wet roads out there. This is 281 in Hildebrand, like we showed you earlier, and we're starting to see a little spray being kicked up by those vehicles, both north and southbound. Now, as we move over to some other areas, this is 35 at O'Connor, not too bad there, but look at 37 in Houston, also very damp and liable to be very slick out there. Moving over to 410 at Fredericksburg Road, doesn't seem like it's quite reached there yet, but 281 in almost north and southbound lanes should be slowing down, not quite moving that fast. 410 in San Pedro so far still looks pretty good.
Thank you, Marcus. Mike, I forgot to ask you, how are your Detroit Lions doing this year so far?
Look at the beautiful moon. So crickets. Crescent moon, and can't wait to see the full moon on October the 1st.
So you mean they're 0-2? Is that what you were going to say?
Mark.
And by the way, next month actually there's a blue moon. The next full moon, or the second full moon of the month, is going to be on Halloween.
I'm sorry, Mike.
The second full moon.
No, you're not.
We got to do weather now. We can't talk about lions. So it depends on where you are as far as rain is concerned, as Marcus was pointing out on some of the TransGuide cameras. And this shot there on the south side, where most of the rain right now is, that's kind of working its way in toward the north side as well. 87 yesterday, same thing in New Braunfels, 87 in Gonzales, but big difference today, 75 for a high temperature forecast today, and mid upper 70s around here. A little bit warmer off to the west, cooler off to the east because of the more cloud cover and more rain today. And this is what it looks like on radar. As you can see, more rain is on the way. We've got some of these light little sprinkly showers, and again, basically southern half of the city as of right now, but you will definitely be getting some in the northern half of the area as the day progresses. And out to the west, you'll get some rain as well, west of I-35, but obviously not as much. So there's the center of the storm down there in the Gulf of Mexico. It will continue to produce rain, and basically east of I-35, some out there to the west, but this is where the heaviest rain is going to be. And then that's going to work its way up to the northeast over the course of the day tomorrow and into Wednesday. Maybe a half a foot of rain well off to the east, basically even almost out of our viewing area. Here in town, perhaps some cases an inch of rain. That may be pushing it. Lesser amounts off to the west. Obviously, more rain you get further off to the east. The center of the storm is still well off there in the Gulf of Mexico, moving to the west at 6 miles per hour. It has slowed its movement just a little bit, so even by lunchtime today, still going to be off there in the Gulf, and it won't really make land, doesn't look like, until sometime late tonight or the wee hours of tomorrow morning as a tropical storm, a minimal tropical storm there. And then again, throughout the day tomorrow, it makes that right-hand turn even before it reaches Victoria, and it's going to work its way almost backtracking on itself right up the Texas coast, and that'll take all the rain with it as well. So we'll start to see rain around here, or continue to see rain through probably the first half of the day tomorrow, it looks like, and then it's going to begin to taper off. Tropical storm warnings in some of our southeastern counties for those winds, 30-40 miles per hour, with some gusts on top of that, and also flash flood watch in our southeastern counties through tomorrow evening. So that's where the heaviest rain is going to be. There could be a couple of heavier pockets further to the west, but again, this is basically going to be our extreme eastern counties that see the lion's share of the rain from this event. So forecast today, we'll have some showers around, maybe even a thunderstorm or two. They'll continue to develop this morning, so allow yourself some extra time this morning, just because the roads will be damp in spots. Again, not everybody's seeing rain as of right now, even in and around the metropolitan area. And then 75 for a high temperature, so definitely on the cool side compared to normal, almost 15 below normal. Showers, couple of thunderstorms, heaviest rain off to the east. We go into tomorrow then and make it back up to 80, but still well below normal. Fall begins 8:30 in the morning. Below normal temperatures through about midweek, and then we'll start to warm back up, and it is going to be a bit on the warm side going into this weekend.
I won't bring up the Lions again. You bring it up whenever you feel comfortable talking about your team, okay?
Tomorrow on GMSA.
Not right now.
That doesn't exist in the prompter right now, but nice try. Thank you, Mike. It's 6:49, 72 degrees.
And tomorrow is Fall Prevention Day, and we're not talking about the season. Join us tomorrow on GMSA, where we hear from medical experts on how to take a tumble correctly and how it can save your life.
Also with Live Cam, the news you need to know before you go is coming up, and another check of time saver traffic.
Good morning. It's Monday, and coming up here on GMA, we are celebrating the life and legacy of Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. This morning, the tributes are still pouring in for the legal legend who inspired generations of women and fought fearlessly for women's rights. As Americans across this nation honor the incomparable leader, the fight to replace her is taking shape. All eyes are on President Trump's short list as he promises to put in a nomination next week and says it will be a woman. The Democrats are saying they're going to do everything in their limited power to fight this, including possibly impeachment. We'll get into it all right here on GMA.
In the news you need to know before you go, San Antonio Fire Department says a man in his 60s was injured in a fire at his apartment. Firefighters responded to a call at an apartment complex around 2 this morning in the 100 block of Andrews near North New Braunfels. They say the man who has COPD was having a cigarette next to his oxygen tank. The cigarette lit the oxygen on fire and his chairs caught on fire. Firefighters say he injured himself while trying to get out of the apartment but was not burned.
San Antonio police are still looking for a driver who crashed a car into a home overnight. Police say it happened around 1 in the morning in the 3000 block of East South Cross. That's on the southeast side, about a block away from Highland Hills Elementary School. Police say the driver lost control and crashed into the front of the house. That driver then got out and ran away.
Our KSAT community partner, University Health System, is working with HEB Pharmacy to set up a flu shot drive-through. It's happening this Saturday at September 26th from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. over at Freeman Coliseum.
Now, there are a limited number of spots available, and appointments are on a first-come, first-served basis. So to sign up, go to ksatcommunity.com.
We're approaching 5 minutes till 7.
Let's go ahead and take one last look at traffic with Officer Marcus Trujillo.
And no accidents on the highway just yet. However, southbound 35 at Alamo there, the upper deck, you do see on that left-hand shoulder courtesy patrol out with a stalled vehicle, and also I-10, eastbound I-10, right there by the medical center. Also, another courtesy patrol vehicle out with stranded motorists. Take a look, 410 in San Pedro. Not too bad there. We are seeing increases in the traffic in various parts of the city. I-10 at the Y, there's another shot there. The roads are slick, folks. Make sure you put away those distractions, those cell phones, those coffee cups, both hands on the wheel. Mike?
Thanks, sir. Yeah, basically southern half of town is where the rain is, but as you can see, more rain is coming in here from the east, and that will continue to be pushed out ahead of Beta as it moves in closer. And there's a closer look at town. So if you are heading out, again, right now, west and south side, but we will continue to see more showers developing throughout the day. 73 at noon, only 75 for high temperature today. More showers, thunderstorms, kind of breezy, wind out of the northeast, 15 to 20 miles per hour. More rain tomorrow, and then we will begin to clear on out late tomorrow and then throughout the rest of the week. Temperatures below normal through about Thursday, and then warm up for the weekend, and fall begins tomorrow morning.
It's looking like we're going to have a decent shot at showers today, Mike.
Yeah, especially off to the east. That's where some of the heaviest rain is going to be, and well off in our eastern counties.
All right, we will prepare for the rain. Thank you, Mike.
Thanks for joining us, everybody.
Happy Monday. We'll see you back here at 9.
Good Morning America is coming up next right here on KSAT 12.